I am Tomer Ben David. I'm the CEO of Vortex Imaging. We built a new medical imaging device that utilizes standard piezoelectric ultrasound, just like you have any ultrasound that you know, only that the way we create the image, the way we build it is totally different. We build it ground up, and we use geophysics-inspired algorithms, full waveform inversion, that actually run on GPUs. They run on GPUs in the cloud, and we built an image that is just like what you would get with a CT. So in a nutshell, we take ultrasound physics and we build CT-like imageries. We have recognized that ultrasound, although is amazing, there are few things that actually limit what it enables physicians to do. And I would say the main thing has to do with the expertise needed to operate ultrasound. Ultrasound requires both expertise in the acquisition, it's when you put the device on the patient body, and then the interpretation. But in current ultrasound, no matter if it's low cost, high cost, point of care ultrasound, you will always need this expertise. And we figured if we can solve that part and use and build some product that is simple to use, and within few seconds you can do the acquisition by anyone without prior training, then that could solve a big gap in that part. So that's essentially what Vortex brings. We are a device, very simple, low cost. You would place it for a few seconds on a body of a patient. We can talk about clinical indications, but essentially few seconds acquisition. And then from that data alone, we generate standardized imagery, just like as you would have done a CT scan. Then the radiologist, the physician can just slide through the images, and it's like, I mean, you went to a CT simply by doing ultrasound. That's a big deal. Actually, this startup, Vortex, is the second startup that Uri Tal, my co-founder, and I have built. Our first company was in a different domain, a company by the name of Rocketic. We accelerated logic simulation, and the company was acquired. But the concept is that we love taking complicated problems and taking a new approach to solve them. And after we were done with that project, we were looking, okay, what else is there to do in the world? And we stumbled into ultrasound kind of by coincidence. And we saw this amazing technology where you have the safe physics. I mean, ultrasound is safe. It is very simple to produce it, low cost, and it sees through your body. I mean, wow, that's amazing. Now, when you look at the results it brings and the images it produces, I mean, they're fine, they're great. I mean, people use them all the time, clinicians use them, but they're not as good as CT and MR. And we were intrigued by that. We said, okay, we have to solve that issue. And we were starting to look into that. And eventually we came up with some ideas, and we knew, okay, this is how we're going to do it. Later, we found that some similar methods are used in other worlds, geophysics, and etc. But we were inspired to solve that problem. So that's the background of what got us into Vortex. And we're utilizing the expertise that we've built over the years using GPUs and hard compute to solve these problems. We differentiate by the fact that this new modality or this device enables physicians to make diagnostic and do imaging on the spot wherever they are. And the standard of care today in almost all applications, almost all specialists, is necessarily the imaging itself is separated from the patient physician encounter, the office setting. And we believe that's our first opportunity. That's where Vortex will make the most impact. And later, of course, we can also work in hospitals, emergency centers, ambulances, I mean, everywhere. But we will start with in-office patient-physician encounter. So the existing solutions are, let's say, of course, we talked a little bit about ultrasound and how we differentiate from ultrasound. But I want to talk a little bit about, before we step to MR and CT, point-of-care ultrasound, POCUS. That's another ultrasound that has got a lot of attention in recent years. And it's kind of amazing. It's an amazing product because taking ultrasound and making it compact and low cost, it was supposed to be a huge promise to the industry because everyone wanted to have ultrasound available and physician being able to do more assessment anywhere. But the problem with that, I mean, these are small devices, low cost, really cool, and every physician could have them in his pocket, but they haven't solved the key problem of the expertise needed. And then, of course, also the reimbursement after you do the procedure. And that's actually where we're trying to fit in. We're saying, okay, you don't need to be an expert. You can just put the device as cheap as a point of care ultrasound, but we'll bring all the images that you need. And then everything is standardized. You don't need to be an expert operating the device. But then we also bring another upside, which has to do with getting reimbursed. It's a different kind of problem, getting reimbursed. You need to have all these specific views and annotations and documentation, and we can actually enable that quite easily with our modality because everything is very standardized. So that's the ultrasound domain. A little bit of CT and MR. I'm sorry that I'm putting these two together, but basically the reason I'm doing that, because these are the super standard technologies. Everything is, doesn't matter who was the technician, where you did the image, images are images. And that's something that really inspires us and takes us. We want to bring an ultrasound that has that cool property, high quality, sub-millimeter resolution, everything is standardized, you can view everything. And MR and CT are great, but they're super expensive. Super expensive. CT has ionizing radiation. They require a large room. So we are really trying to navigate in between these two worlds, bring the simplicity and safeness of ultrasound and getting it to the level of CT and MR in terms of how you interpret and read the images. First of all, we have the technology is generic by nature. And as I said, you can put it on a patient body and you would see sliced images. But then the question is, okay, is it just you're going to place it randomly, or I mean, how does it work? No, to introduce a medical device, an imaging device, you have to be at least at start more specific. And we tend to address few clinical applications at the beginning. The first of which would be detecting kidney stones. That's for a urologist. And the idea is to bring a solution that a urologist can use within his office or her office. Meaning that today, when a patient enters and has some problem, some pain, and needs to be diagnosed, most likely the urologist would not be able to perform. It simply doesn't have the skills or the devices to perform the diagnostic and the imaging on the spot. So you would be referred to an imaging center or a hospital, and that's very painful. What we will offer is the physician will have our device to place on the patient, few seconds acquisition, get all the imagery needed, make the diagnostic, get reimbursed for the procedure. Everything is within that setting. So that's the first application. I can talk also about additional applications. We have in OBGYN, fertility, for follicular monitoring for IVF treatments. We'll be doing liver, we'll be doing thyroid. There are many, many other applications that potentially this technology will support. We have founded the company 4 years ago, and this has been a very intensive 4 years of developing the core technology. We've taken an idea or an innovative a method that we came up with, and we took it all the way to technology demonstration that we have today. So after 4 years now, we are super proud and excited by the fact that we have in vivo images. We are able to take the device and show sliced imagery, CT-like on a person, on a man, and a human, and that's a big deal for us. That's a big de-risking that we have done to our development. And right now we're going forward to develop the product. Now that we have completed the technology proof, we want to build a product. I will say, most of the de-risking in terms of the technology enablement was done, but now we need to go through regulatory procedures. We need to do the clinical trials. We need to build production product, a production-ready product. And for that, it will take us another 2.5 years. And right now we're raising our Series A for that. So right now we have just got our initial in vivo images, and that's a big deal for us. The next step will be to start clinical trials, official clinical trials. We will start them as soon as Q1 of next year. And those would be around detecting kidney stones for urologists. So that will be the first clinical study that we'll be doing. In terms of the team of the company, it's quite, I'll say, cool. But currently we are 12 people, and none of us came from the from medical imaging or ultrasound. This is all new to us. We're a bunch of scientists and computer engineers, and we're learning everything from scratch. I mean, there's some limitations and learning curve, but on the other hand, we're really able to bring, novelty. And by the way, this is the same as we did with our previous company, the one that we founded before. Also with that one, we were rookies to that domain. Everything we reinvent from ground up.